Hello and welcome to another episode of Ewell Acres. Today we're going to continue on with our beekeeping discussion. We're going to be talking about 4 more tools that are not necessary for you to do beekeeping, but will help you to be more successful. Let's get started. Now, when you're getting started with beekeeping, there is a huge amount of tools available, and it can be a very expensive upfront cost when you're getting involved in beekeeping, and sometimes it can be difficult to try and decide, are these tools necessary to have, are they not necessary to have, and help you kind of decide. That's what this list is going to be here today, to help you differentiate between some of the tools that are nice to have versus not, and maybe just inform you of some tools that are out there to consider. Maybe as I get along with beekeeping, maybe I want to incorporate it into my own inventory of tools to have available. Now, the first tool that I have available has to deal with wax once you're done with harvesting and getting things going. It's called a solar wax melter. Now, there are many different designs out there that can be helpful. It can be as simple as a box with some plexiglass. There are some that are pre-manufactured that are hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, that are really fancy and nice. Whatever method you choose, it is a way that you can use to help melt your wax, clean it, filter it while utilizing it. Is it necessary? No, but if you want to delve in that and kind of mold your own wax, go for it. It's something that you can use for a long term. It's more of kind of a set it and forget it thing off to the side where you don't have to be there physically watching it, like as if you're doing a double boiling method. So that way you can go work on other projects while that's being worked on as well. The next item on our list has to do with physical tools in getting into the hive. It's called frame grips. Now, what these are is that they are a tongue-like device that kind of looks like scissors that you can use to act as fingers to grab each side of your frame to help you in pulling it out. When you're getting inside the frame, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to maneuver, sometimes it can be a little bit tight, or you've got bees going everywhere that you don't necessarily want to stick your hand in, or maybe the bees are just getting a little bit more aggravated and you want to do a standoff motion a little bit. Well, by using frame grips, these are tongs that you can use to help go in and pull that frame out, making it a little bit easier to extract that frame out of the hive to look at it. Another thing that you can do is use the frame, flip it up, flip it back around so you can physically observe it without having your fingers on the hives if you're still a little bit nervous about having bees, stingers, and dealing with that. I personally don't use frame grips because I find it an unnecessary expense, because I'm more than happy just to hold the frame, having my 2 hands on either side of the frame, flipping it up, flipping it down, observing it. But for those that like to have it, it is an option out there to help you in holding on to frames. Next tool that you have that as a part of it has to deal with pest prevention and treatment. It's called a vaporizer. Now, this item is a very niche item that is rarely used, or not only used a couple times a year. And it's not necessary at all. It's a very niche situation where, let's say you're using a varroa mite treatment like oxalic acid in the crystalline form. You would put that crystalline form of oxalic acid in the vaporizer, you heat it up, and it will vaporize or turn that oxalic acid into a fog to do the material. Or if you want to go a little bit more natural form where you're using essential oils as a preventative measure to try to have it, lemongrass oil, something like that, as to act as an attractant, you can put those essential oils in a fogger or the vaporizer to turn that into a fog to permeate throughout the entire system. It is very situational, very niche. Do I personally have one? Yes. I find it very useful when I do my oxalic acid treatments for varroa mite, but that's just one personal method that I've done it. The vast majority of homeowner or small-time beekeepers where you've only got a couple hives, by all means, it is not necessary. There are other ways that you can do pest or varroa mite treatment. There are other things that you can do to be successful. This is not a tool that you need, but it could be helpful to have. So if you want to get into that and try that method of treatment, look at getting a vaporizer. Look at getting a fogger. It's something that you could potentially add to your repertoire. Those are just a couple items that I personally think of tools that are nice to have but not necessary to continue on with your beekeeping experience as you move on down the line. Let me know in the comments below. Are there some items that weren't part of this list that you think that should have been added? Are there some other items that were added that you were just questioning why in the world would that be a part of that list? Let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are. We're always eager to learn from each other. Now, there's a fourth item that I've got on this list that I add to every single list, no matter on whether it's necessary, not necessary, beginner, or been beekeeping for 50 years. And that is education, education, education. Learn as much as possible. It will make you a much more successful beekeeper, and it will save you a significant amount of money, not only in the short term when you're dealing with your upfront costs, but long term down the road as well. Go to your local library, rent books, learn as much as possible, do internet searches. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. You can gain education for free. All it takes is your time. And if you're getting into beekeeping, that time is well spent. If you want to start your own library like I have, go ahead and start purchasing some books. Look at videos. Build a repertoire of information that you can recall on to gain in a situation that you're like, I don't know what the problem is going on. I'm going to learn about it. Gain as much education as possible. If there's one thing I can highly advise, that's the number one tool that you can have in your repertoire. Gain as much knowledge as possible. Thanks for joining us. We are so glad to have you here. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell for notifications for future videos that are coming out all the time. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.